The last true encounter, at a small cafe in Paris. Paris, the city where people choose to escape, or to confess. Paris always has a way of forcing people to face their emotions. Jamie never thought of returning to this place because of memories. But that day, I came to Paris for a meeting with the crew. A short trip. Just a few days. No other plans. I rented a hotel near Montmartre, where the small stone streets are like a strip of time winding through the streets. The first morning, I left the hotel, intending to find a cafe to have a quick drink before the meeting. Paris was very quiet early. Not crowded, not noisy. Only the sound of the wind, the sound of sweeping the sidewalks, the sound of people opening shops. I turned into a small alley. An old wooden sign read, Matin Silencieux, the silent morning. The name stopped me. Little did I know that in a few minutes, I would see the person I thought I would never see again, in the truest, simplest, and final way. The door opened, and my mind was pulled from the present. The cafe was small. Old wooden tables, yellow light, the smell of freshly roasted coffee mixed with the aroma of croissants. I walked in. I looked up. And there she was. Dakota Johnson. Not on screen. Not on stage. Not in a crowded award ceremony. It was Dakota, plain and heartbreakingly real, sitting in the corner of the cafe by the window, wearing a soft gray sweater, her hair loose, holding a notebook. She had no makeup on. There was no light shining in. It was just her. Dakota looked up at the doorbell. Her eyes met mine. And for a moment I couldn't breathe. Neither could she. I saw it in her eyes, widening and then stilling as if time had stood still. No one said anything. No one moved. Only my heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. She put down the notebook, like an unspoken invitation. Dakota smiled slightly. A smile that had it all: surprise, amazement, pain, joy, and acceptance. She nodded slightly, like an invitation. I walked over. The seat across from her was empty. When I sat down, no one spoke for a few seconds. Just the sounds of Paris outside the window, the sound of a spoon stirring the cup, the sound of my heart trying to calm down. Finally, Dakota said softly, "Jamie, the last person I thought I would see in Paris was you." I laughed softly, shaking. "I didn't think I would see you either. Not here, not like this." Dakota looked around the cafe, then looked into my eyes. "Maybe destiny wants us to end things the right way." I heard that and knew, we both knew what we were facing. This was not a chance meeting. Not a moment to drag each other back to the past. This was a meeting, to finish it all. The first silence, beautiful as the silence of a sad music. We didn't speak for a while. Neither of us was in a hurry. Dakota looked out the window, where the yellow leaves drifted in the gentle wind. She said, her voice low, "Paris makes me think of things that are not perfect." I replied, "Me too. And you are the most incomplete thing in my life." Dakota didn't turn around right away. She closed her eyes for a second, as if holding back tears. "Don't say that, Jamie. Or else, I won't be able to bear it." I took a deep breath. I wanted to say it all. I wanted to say how much I missed her. I wanted to say that every time I saw her on television, my heart felt like it was being squeezed. I wanted to say that hug backstage at the awards show that had stayed with me for years. But all I said was, "I'm sorry for all the things I didn't get to say." Dakota opened her eyes. And that sad smile, made me want to pull her into my arms. Jamie, I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. The last truth Dakota never told. Dakota let out a soft breath. Paris is where I go when I want to be honest with myself. She looked straight at me, her eyes no longer trembling. Jamie, there's something I've never said, and I want to say it this last time we meet. I felt my heart stop. Dakota put her hand on her chest, right where her heart was. You are someone I've never forgotten. Even when I thought I had. I wanted to answer right away, but my throat tightened. Dakota continued. It's not love. It's not what people think. It's just. You're where I found myself. She looked down at her hands. And that's what scares me the most. Her voice almost faded into thin air. My turn, and I say what I had keeping out for 3 years. I put my hand on the table, not touching hers, but close enough for her to understand. Dakota? You are the chapter I don't want to close. She smiled softly, a beautiful but sad smile. But I closed it. I shook my head. No. I just keep it. In a place that no one can reach. Dakota looked at me for a long time. And she said the words that melted my heart. I have a place like that too, for you. Paris, the city of confessions and letting go. Dakota stood up, walked to the counter, and paid for 2 coffees. I watched, my heart heavy. She turned, put on her coat, and said, "Would you like to walk with me?" I nodded. We walked out onto the street, no touching, no leaning, just walking side by side. Paris lit up by the thin sunlight filtering through the old houses. Dakota said, "Do you remember Silver Lake?" I nodded. Yes. She smiled. That time, I was hoping you would call me back. I closed my eyes. I wanted to. But I was afraid I wouldn't be able to let go if I did. Dakota sighed. Jamie, you're not the only one who's afraid. My face burned with emotion. We came to a small bridge over the Seine. Dakota stopped. Jamie, this is the last time we really see each other. Her voice cracked slightly. I know. I knew it from the moment I walked into the cafe. I just asked. Why? Dakota looked up at the sky, her eyes filled with tears. Because if we meet again, I'm afraid I won't be able to live my life anymore. I swallowed a sob. Dakota added. And I want you to live your life too. Really? The last hug, not like any hug. Dakota turned to me. Jamie, hug me again. I moved closer. Not quickly. Not in a hurry. I put my hands on her shoulders. She rested her forehead on my chest. This hug wasn't like the hug backstage. Not like the hugs of the past. It was a hug to end. A hug to let go. A hug to hold. A hug to remember. I didn't want to let go. She didn't let go either. But finally, we both exhaled, and we pulled apart. Slow. Soft. Beautifully painful. The last greeting, no promises, no waiting, no looking. Dakota looked up at me, eyes sparkling. Thank you, for being the best chapter of my childhood. I replied. Me too. You're something I'll always carry with me. Even when I'm not with you. Dakota smiled, a small, thin smile, so beautiful it made me want to cry. Goodbye, Jamie. She turned away. Walking through the sunny Parisian streets. I stood there, watching. Until her silhouette melted into the crowd. Until I knew she wasn't coming back. Conclusion, a chapter finished, but never has to be close. I stood alone on the bridge, the Parisian wind blowing gently across my face. Not sad. Not happy. Just peaceful. A kind of peace that comes from knowing you loved someone in the most beautiful way possible, without holding them back. I whispered. Thank you, Dakota, for giving me a Paris to remember. Then I turned and walked away. Without looking back. Because sometimes, the most beautiful thing is not holding each other back. It is giving each other a memory that will never fade.